busy, busy day. We just left the Raleigh GNC over here, and after a couple hundred, getting into the thousands of handshakes, now it's time to hit legs. So this leg curl is a little funky, but better than nothing. So hamstrings, same start as usual. Moderate weight. This isn't insanely heavy because this is a new machine. I've never used this before. The last thing I want to do is like jump straight onto a new machine I've never used, load my hamstring in a slightly different way than they've ever been loaded. And I mean, that combination is just asking to pull some shit. But feels good. Let's start with a few here. Oh yeah. Oh. Okay. A few more. Let's spam a few more just like that. One pin heavier. Okay. No, yeah. Oh. Let's do some light reps for the next set. Whew. I've never really sympathized with the argument, Sam, you only did one movement for hamstrings this workout. Your hamstrings clearly were not stimulated enough. Which, I mean, I guess I get maybe the idea, but if that's what you're kind of thinking, I would recommend, and this is just a recommendation, do 7 or 8 sets of hamstring curls really hard in a row, and then just come back to me. Because as far as I'm concerned, my hamstrings are getting fucking smacked around. But let's keep going. Oh, God. Oh, okay. I think just one more like that. And then Transition to quads. Whew. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Hamstrings are fucking pumped. Let's get some leg extensions started. We're not in a huge rush, but I am trying to finish legs a little quicker. And if that's you, if you ever have a lift where you kind of have to, you got some shit to do in like an hour, this is a little tip I think is going to help you. You can spend a little bit longer warming up if you make your first few sets lighter squeezing sets. So if I wanted to sit here and make the first set a really heavy one, single leg, I'd have to keep warming up, get my knees ready for that much weight. Or I could just do a light squeezing set first. And then that set serves two purposes. For one thing, it's a good set. It's going to burn. It's going to fatigue my quads and warm up my knees. But that second reason is it is going to warm up my knees. So then my next set's going to get progressively heavier. Typically, I want my workouts to be as heavy, as intense as possible in the beginning. But as long as the sets that you're doing are hard, I don't care if you want to do 30 rep sets for your entire workout. If you push it pretty much as hard as you can on every set, you're going to grow. The question of like, oh, what style of training should I do? Or what's the best method to get big and the best method to get results is to go hard in whatever form that may be for you. Take that to heart, I'm serious. But I'm going to start my left leg first. So my right quad's a little bigger, so I hit failure-ish at 15. I'm going to stop the strong side at 15 too. But a few more like this, then we can move on to some kind of pressing to be determined. I think that might be too heavy. Okay, let's change approaches a little bit. This will be a sissy squat superset, and then probably go to Smith machine squats. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Honestly. Now, I'm not trying to complain. This leg extension isn't really jiving with me. But those were some good opening sets. I think most of the work is going to be on the Smith machine next. So let's move over. That was a really good superset though. A little prescription from Sam. Add a couple of those supersets with some sissy squats in. You won't regret it. This Smith machine is not for fucking around. No cables, no pulleys, no fancy pants bullshit to make it actually lighter than it really is. This is just a bar on a rail. This is what the Smith machine is meant to be like. So my responsibility now, get hyped to shit and do 30 reps. Now I'm gonna couple that with a pretty badass song. So let me just pull it up. Okay. Okay. Let's camp out here and do a few more sets just like that. Oh, I definitely had some more left in the tank, but in the process of doing like the next 4 sets with this weight, the accumulated damage is gonna be pretty severe. Oh, I gotta take a seat. Let's keep going, goddammit. Ow, bitch. Damn. Let's go back to leg extensions. Holy fuck. Added bonus to Smith machine. I didn't kill myself just by filling a rep because I could re-rack it without a spotter. Something to think about. Okay. I think this will be the last one. Oh. Basic plan. Same thing as the last leg extensions, superset. Leg extensions first, followed by the sissy squat drop set. And I can't really, it's hard for me to really explain it, but doing these sissy squats in this way, as long as it doesn't bother your knees or your ankles, it is an insane stretch. Because it's so much different than anything you'd get in like a leg press. Because sure, in a leg press, you can bend your leg crazy, you can get crazy deep, but your leg is still kind of bending towards your body. Whereas with the sissy squats, you get that serious knee bending action, but your legs are more in line with your fucking hips. So the stretch I kind of feel up here is much more intense in a good way. But no, after everything that we did today and talking to everybody, I'm definitely feeling some fatigue. And it kind of amped me up to go harder in those squats because I knew I wasn't in a perfectly primed state for a crazy workout. And that's kind of when you have to push it harder. You know, if you feel totally in the zone and everything and you go hard, that's perfect, that's awesome. But if you feel like shit and you can turn that negativity into added kind of hype for your own lift, I mean, then you're fucking unstoppable, you know? Because then no matter what comes your way, you're gonna at least push yourself and become a more intense lifter in your mind, and your body will follow, you know? The guy who can go hard when he feels kind of like shit will get so much further than the guy who has to take off, you know, and hit the brakes when he feels trash. And he's like, oh, this is a little bit too hard. Like, I'm okay with pushing hard if I feel really good and I'm perfectly rested and everything. But if it's gonna be extra hard, oh, I can't. We all know this, but I feel the need to repeat it out loud. So let's get this last one. Go post down somewhere in some cool lighting. We're going to a whole little dinner with the GNC crew later tonight. That's gonna be pretty fun. But let me, oh, that's way too heavy. Yeah. This is light. This is a lightweight set. Need a better song. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. Holy shit. Okay. Let's go find some cool lighting. Holy shit. Okay. So it's been approximately 30 seconds since that last set. I do not want to see the Sam is dying out of breath comments about this moment. Oh, give me some time. I gotta fucking re-oxygenate myself. But let's see how the legs are looking. Whew. Definitely not my most ideal state. Did not drink enough water today, but that's on me. Still, hard ass sets and a pump the quality of we are about to find out. So let's get a little shirt tuck in and pants roll up going and see what really is going on below the waist. Ooh. That's kind of nice about these pants. They're kind of tight at the knee. I can sort of roll them up in themselves. Kind of a fucking Speedo style. There we go. Yeah, now we're working with something. Let's see if we go even further in. We can, you don't need to see my face here. We're focused on the legs for a moment. Oh. I mean, that's a fucking set of legs, all right. And I'm not even that lean. Like, in the grand scheme of leanness, I'm not bad. But I mean, in a bodybuilding context, this is not show ready. So the fact that there's still some separation in here when even pretty fucking pumped is kind of giving me a little heads up that I'm doing something right. Because my legs look way different when they're, holy shit. That's pretty fucking cool right there. Really good separation of outer quad and hamstring. This line I want as deep and pronounced as possible. But perfect ender to a really fucking busy day. I don't say it enough. I definitely don't say it enough. But the support that you guys give me, comments, in person, running into you guys in gyms or restaurants or fucking just out in the world, it is absolutely fucking incredible. Do not do not think for one moment that I'm taking it for granted, because don't forget, you guys are the one that makes this fancier side of like the social media and everything really happen. So you're playing a big part in this sort of journey too, don't worry. But let's scram. All right, it's now the next day. I totally went fucking bananas calorie-wise last night. So by the time the whole day schedule, food-wise, of I guess what would be today, like the leg day that I did yesterday, was like, I hit my 2,500 calorie limit by 6 o'clock. Or no, earlier than that, by, oh crap, I can't remember the timing, but I had like 4,500 calories yesterday, an extra 2,000. Now, am I screwed? Not really. Because this is what happens. When you're dieted down, all pretty much your sugar cells or your muscle glycogen kind of vacuoles where your muscles hold sugar water, they're empty. When they're empty, that's when you're going to start using fat as your energy source and burn fat and get a little bit leaner, right? But if you're bulking, when you're cutting down and you have a cheat day, like I'm going to say, oh, I had a refeed day. Like, no, I was totally just cheating. What happens is those little
spots in all your muscles, which are meant to kind of hold glycogen, right? Your sugar water, they'll just fill up. So I did not suddenly gain half a pound of fat from eating an extra 2,000 calories, which is kind of how you're supposed to look at it. A pound of body fat is 3,000, I think 3,300 calories. So if you're trying to lose a pound a week, you need to be in a deficit of 3,300 calories a week, at least. So that ends up adding up to like 400 or 500 calories per day. But what that tells me is the chest day that I'm going to do tonight and that you're going to see tomorrow is going to be extra freaky because I'm kind of carved up. But no, this is no indicator of the bulk beginning. I do want to get a little leaner. So this next week or two, that's when I'll really open the floodgates. But until then, we got to lock in. But when it comes to the actual meet and greet that we did, I mean, we had a line of fucking 1,200 lifters. That's, that's bananas. And the guys who I was really, well, I mean, of course, I'm going to kind of connect with everybody. But the guys who I could really connect with and have a little bit of an extra kind of deep talk with were the ones where they were showing me their transformation and they had lost 100 pounds within the last year. Or like when they started working out for whatever reason, like in that first year, they went from 100 pounds overweight to just lean looking 20% body fat dude. And I got to look at those guys and say, oh, so you get it. You actually understand your diet. Because anybody who like is on the, they're kind of interested in losing weight. They don't really know how to go about it. They might have tried, but not really tried that hard. They don't want to deal with their macros. They don't want to deal with cardio. I mean, they don't want to deal with it. They don't even really have the perception of just how simple it is to do. Now, of course, it's a fucking chore. Losing one, losing 100 pounds in a year is fucking crazy because you're locked in literally for an entire year. Because if you're not eating in a deficit, if you're eating too much, if you're overdoing it, there's no getting around it. You're not going to lose body fat. So that's where I think the losing body fat side of things is one of the most, let's just say, one of the biggest indicators of how well you can actually commit yourself to something. Because the lifting side, the training and the growing, for one thing, that's fun in the gym. Working out's fun. And you can do it in all sorts of different ways. So the building muscle side of things, at least in the beginning stages, it can just kind of happen without anything fancy on your end. You go work out hard, you get to eat whatever you want. It's kind of a comfortable situation. And if you like weight training, then gains are just going to fucking roll in for a while. But the body fat side of things, that's a much different story because that's counterbalancing. This is what I want. I want to get leaner. I want to be a lighter weight. I want to get down to the 20, 15% body fat, whatever. But it's going to come at the cost of, okay, I got to lock into my diet, not just for a few days, not for a few weeks. I can't just rely on momentary motivation. Like, I've got to seriously commit to this kind of thing. So when it comes to those guys, they knew what I was talking about because they've entered the matrix. They've taken the red pill. They understand, like, oh crap, I tracked my macros today. I had 4,000 calories. I've been having like 2,300. My weight just spiked 5 pounds. Oh shit. And like, it's so easy to say and like it makes sense. Like, okay, if you eat more calories, it's going to result in weight gain. So if your goal is trying to trim down and peel off body fat, then you really get a deeper understanding. Like we can all imagine what it's like to drive a race car. Right? Oh, you steer, you press the pedal. We get the gist of it. But to actually be in the car doing it and learning all the little intricate details, you get a crazy deeper understanding that somebody on the outside looking in doesn't have. So that's why I always say the guys who actually start tracking the macros, and this is me kind of arguing for getting into your diet and really kind of learning about, I'm not talking like become a total health nut guru. I'm not, I don't make sure I get a complete nutritional profile with a probiotics in my diet every day. But to be able to understand just the nature of how the carbs, fats, protein intake is supposed to look like to at least maintain a reasonably like healthy active build for you, dude, you're just quality of life is going to spike. I mean, you got to remember, no matter who you are or what you do, or if you want to be a total fucking freak and bench 400 pounds for reps, or if you just want to be more of a casual gym goer, just to kind of be fit, You know, the guys who say like, I don't want to get too big, like they should still be working out. No matter who, or if you don't want to work out at all, which you definitely should be, you still have a fucking body, you know, and you're going to have to deal with this thing for a pretty long while. And the more capable it is of fucking kind of exerting force and being able to move around. I mean, I wouldn't say my cardio skills are like maxed out, but I've got reasonable cardio. Now, of course, the only time I show that off is when I'm like finishing a massive set of squats and I feel like I'm about to pass out. But like, you know, just being able to get up, hop on your bike, ride around fucking around your block a few times, shit like that. Like being at a baseline kind of fit state compared to the alternative, which we're really seeing a lot of now. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So that's where if that's you, if you're on the opposite side of that spectrum and you know you've got like upwards of 50, 100, 150 pounds of excess weight, which you just do not need on your frame and you definitely don't want on your frame, the energy and the effort and the uncomfortability that it's going to take to get that off is going to be so much more, or it's going to be so much more valuable and enjoyable than the uncomfortability of just dealing with it forever. So that's one of my key statements of today's little clips is you gotta really lock this shit in, you know, and it's never too late to until it is, you know. Like if I was you get what I'm saying there. So get your diet going, train like a nut, watch a million Jeff Nippard Athlete X videos on like how to do a curl correctly if you've never really worked out before. And then when it comes to the guys who are asking me like, okay, what should I, you know, I'm 6 months in, what should I do now? Just keep lifting, man. You know, because by working out for a long time and just by being in the gym on a consistent basis, I mean like 5 days a week minimum, or even if your routine's a 3 day a week, whatever, do that every week, no matter what. And then, I mean, we all know this. Anytime you start watching workout videos, your Instagram feed is completely packed with everything fitness related. Same thing on TikTok, same thing on YouTube, same thing on everywhere. So your phone is just going to constantly feed you information. And if you know how to just absorb the good ones and take some good details and facts and little bits of advice over time, you'll just gradually get a smarter lifter. You know, you're not going to start off as a pro, so don't concern yourself with like trying to make sure every minuscule detail of your training is perfect right off the rip. Because if you're waiting for perfection, you're never going to start. I mean, when I was working out, I had no routine. I had two dumbbells next to my desk in high school, and every so often I just pick them up and curl them. They were, I'd already done a lot of kind of exercise and working out from sports, so I was already starting in just a lean baseline state. But that was the start. And then that evolved a little bit to I had my dad order like $100 like weight stands because we already had like a bench, a barbell, and some free weights floating around in the attic. Or no, in the crawl space. So after just doing curls every so often every day, then added some bench every day. I'm not training back. I'm not training my legs. I'm not doing calves or anything. I just started off benching. And then gradually over time, you know, one of my buddies in high school, Brandon, he was more of a bodybuilder. I had him take me to the gym a couple times. And it was half him taking me because he was kind of excited to get me into it too. So just as long as you're involved and you're actively putting in some effort, you're going to kind of begin to realize, especially over time, that you'll just become a better, more knowledgeable lifter by doing it, you know? So it's kind of nice that it doesn't even require a crazy amount of active thought. Like if I were if I were to just roll up to like a go-kart track every day for an hour, now that'd be fucking crazy expensive, right? If it's hourly, but whatever. If I were to show up there every day for an hour, just zip around go-karts and I'm like talking to everybody that's doing it, eventually I'd probably end up talking to the regulars and they'd have little tips for me. So if that was my shit, after like a year, I'd be a goddamn go-kart professional. I know every little trick and detail and everything. And that goes for, you know, whatever. Because whoever you're kind of surrounded by and who you kind of actively surround yourself by is like, that's kind of you know, it's like if you're an ice cube and you get thrown into a bowl of warm water, you're not going to stay an ice cube, man. You're going to melt. You're going to conform. So if there's a couple freaks at your gym, maybe ease your way into them, ask them if they can spot you, try to extract some intel, and they probably want to tell you a bunch of tips because you got to remember, the gym is kind of a fucking, like, as mainstream as it is now. How often do I run into people, or how often do you run into people out just in the wild or in your family, whoever, who you get to sit down and like, yeah, so what? Ah, dude, I fucking hate the straight bar for push downs. It like tweaks my wrist. You know what I do like? You take two deep, like just random gym talk. You don't get it that much. So at the gym, honestly, that's the best spot to sort of chat about it. Or if you see someone doing some kind of movement you haven't done before, or if you know, like, okay, I just started, my bench form is kind of shit. I'm gonna ask so and so if he can kind of give me some tips on like what should my hand placement be? Should I have my elbows higher up, higher down, or higher up, lower down, things like that. It's just it's kind of misleading, but just by doing it for a long time, you'll gradually just get better at it. And before you know it, you're gonna be posing down. You're like, oh yeah, I want to go in this mirror with this lighting because I know that it makes me look crazier than this mirror with this, and it's just a fucking upward spiral. But that's at the cost of you got to do it every day. But every day it also gets easier, you know? So I think it looks like this. This will be my last little phrase. The difficulty to enjoyment ratio, if you can kind of imagine, it gets hard in the beginning. You have no gains yet. You're still a total beginner. You may be a bit uncomfortable with the space. It's hard in the beginning, right? The difficulty's up here. But once you reach the point of kind of comfortability, you're getting a little more confident, you know what you're doing. You're not so concerned with, okay, do they think that I'm doing this right? Like you're more so concerned with making sure that the sets you're doing are actually good and you're pushing yourself. And once you start to see that first vein, once you get your first pump and you can actually kind of feel like, oh, dude, my chest is like kind of swollen. Honestly, by the time you hit your first side chest with a chest pump in the mirror and you're like, whoa, holy fuck, there's no turning back, right? I'd say something like that is the lip where it's like, oh, this is pretty hard. Oh, well, holy shit, this is pretty fucking cool. Boom. Fucking the difficulty drops down to 0. Because now, the working out's not a chore. Tracking my calories does not feel like a chore anymore. This is just what I like and what I want to do. So when these guys, and then there was another kind of group of guys where they're like, dude, how do I get motivated? That's where they're in this early stage. They haven't really gotten a taste of where the real benefits from the gym are. And that's where you got to just kind of fucking develop an iron mind, keep working out hard, find some guys who motivate you specifically, go back in time, watch some Dorian Yates edits. Even if you're emulating 10% of his intensity in some of those workout videos, you're definitely on the right track to something. But either way, no matter who you are, how old you are, what level of physical development you've got so far, the more you can lock in, the better. So that's my piece for the day. We may or may not be late for our flights. Uber is like totally bugging out. But plan for tomorrow, chest day, and it should be it should be a fucking nasty pump. I'm getting excited about it already because I'm like, there's no scale at this Airbnb we stayed at, but I'm definitely like 243 because just one day of cheating, that will definitely spike my weight like 5 pounds. Now that's not 5 pounds of fat. It's not 5 pounds of muscle either. It's just intramuscular water and sugar because all the carbs I ate didn't get turned into fat. They're just kind of being stored for a minute. So I'll lock back in, but in the meantime, enjoy the fullness for tomorrow's chest day. So take that with what you will. I'll see you tomorrow.